Have you ever prayed for something and wondered why it hasn't come yet? What if I told you that God is not only preparing the blessing for you, He's preparing you for the blessing. The greatest prayer you can ever pray is not, Lord, give me more, make me more. Make me everything I was destined to become. Beloved, when we lift this prayer to heaven, we are not simply asking for possessions, positions, or promotions. We are asking God to transform us into the very embodiment of His original design. Many people pray for blessings, yet they never become the kind of person who can carry those blessings. You see, prayer is not about persuading God to give us what we want. It is about allowing Him to prepare us for what we were created to handle. The power of prayerful identity is one of the most profound truths a person can ever embrace. Prayer is often misunderstood as a way of asking for things, almost like presenting a shopping list to God. But at its deepest level, prayer is not about getting what we want. It is about discovering who we are. It is about aligning our identity with God's intention. When a person prays sincerely, they are not simply requesting, they are uncovering. They are entering a dialogue that allows them to see themselves as God originally designed them to be. To understand prayerful identity, we must realize that prayer has always been more about transformation than transaction. When we say, "Dear God, please make me everything I prayed for and was destined to become," we are asking for more than a blessing. We are asking for an unveiling of self. This prayer is a declaration that says, "Lord, I want my life to reflect the design you placed within me before I was born." True identity cannot be manufactured by achievements, titles, or possessions. It can only be revealed by the one who created us. Prayer does not change God, it changes us. Every time you kneel, every time you cry out, every time you pour your heart before Him, something within you is being shaped. The act of prayer is like standing before a mirror that does not lie. It reflects both your weaknesses and your potential. It reveals where you have fallen short, but it also points you toward who you can become. Prayer exposes the gap between you are today and who you were destined to be. And through that exposure, it gives you the strength to close the gap. One of the greatest dangers in life is to live with an identity crisis. Many people are living lives defined by culture, expectations, or temporary circumstances, rather than the eternal purpose for which they were created. This is why so many remain unfulfilled even after achieving success. They have mistaken activity for identity. They have confused doing with becoming. But in prayer, God reminds us that our true self is not in what we possess, but in who we are becoming. Think of a seed. Within a small seed lies the full identity of a tree. The seed does not have to beg to become a tree. It only needs to be placed in the right environment, nurtured, and allowed to grow. Similarly, your true identity is already within you. Prayer is the environment that waters your destiny. It is the atmosphere where what God placed inside you is nourished, expanded, and brought into reality. When you pray, you are watering the seed of who you are supposed to be. This is why prayer must always go beyond requests for external things. Of course, it is natural to ask God for provision, health, and protection. But the higher dimension of prayer is when you begin to say, "Lord, shape me, align me, transform me into the person who can sustain the blessings you want to give me." Without this shaping, blessings can become burdens. Opportunities can become distractions. Success can become destructive. Identity is the foundation that ensures blessings do not break you but build you. Consider how a child grows. No parent gives their 5-year-old the responsibility of driving a car. Why? Because the child does not yet have the maturity to handle it, even if they desire it. In the same way, God sometimes withholds certain answers to prayer until your identity has grown to carry them. What we see as delay is often development. God is not denying you. He is defining you. He is shaping your identity so that when the blessing arrives, it does not crush you. The power of prayerful identity also lies in how it separates you from false definitions. The world is loud with voices telling you who you should be. Some will say you are defining your career, others by your possessions, and still others by your failures. But prayer cuts through those voices and allows you to hear the one voice that matters, the voice of God. In His presence, you are reminded that you are not what people call you. You are not even the mistakes you have made. You are who He says you are, and prayer is the pathway to discovering and walking in that truth. So when we pray, "Dear God, Please make me everything I prayed for and was destined to become. We are not simply asking for external blessings. We are surrendering our false identities. We are laying down the masks we wear for acceptance, the roles we play for validation, and the fears we carry from rejection. We are saying, Lord, strip away what I am not and reveal what I am. That is the essence of prayerful identity. It is not about asking God to change His plan, but about asking Him to align us with the plan that has existed since the beginning. When you understand this, prayer becomes less about getting and more about becoming. It becomes a daily journey of growth, refinement, and alignment. And the more you embrace prayerful identity, the more you will realize that the greatest answer to prayer is not a thing you receive, but the person you become. Becoming versus receiving is one of the greatest lessons of life and spirituality. Too often, people measure the effectiveness of prayer and faith by what they have received. They look at answered prayers in the form of money, opportunities, jobs, or relationships, and they believe that this is the full evidence of God's hand. But what if the real measure is not what you receive, but who you become in the process? What if the real gift of prayer is not the blessing itself, but the transformation of the person who carries it? Receiving is external. It gives you something to hold, to use, or to display. But becoming is internal. It makes you into someone who has the capacity to hold, use, and sustain what you have been given. There is a great difference between the two. A person can receive wealth but lack the character to manage it. They can receive influence but lack the wisdom to steward it. They can receive opportunities but lack the maturity to maximize them. This is why so many who receive end up losing what they once celebrated. Because without becoming, receiving is temporary. Becoming is what prepares you for receiving. It is the inner work that shapes the outer blessings. When you pray, Lord, make me everything I prayed for, you are asking for the greater blessing, the process of becoming. You are asking for patience to match the opportunity, discipline to handle the promotion, and humility to carry the success. Without these, receiving can become a burden instead of a blessing. True fulfillment is when your inner growth matches your outer gain. Consider a person who prays for success in business. If they only focus on receiving clients, money, and contracts, they may experience a temporary rise. But if they do not become a leader with integrity, discipline, and vision, the same success can destroy them. On the other hand, if they focus on becoming trustworthy, diligent, and wise, then when success arrives, it will not overwhelm them. They will not only have received, they would have become. This is the deeper answer to prayer. The truth is that God is always more interested in who you're becoming and what you are receiving. Because what you become, you will carry for life. What you receive, you may lose in a moment. Circumstances can take away possessions, positions, and hidden relationships, but no one can take away character, wisdom, and identity. Becoming secures your future in a way receiving never can. That is why the process often takes longer than we expect. God delays certain blessings not because He does not want you to have them, but because He is still shaping you to sustain them. When we shift our focus from receiving to becoming, even challenges and setbacks begin to make sense. If all you want is to receive, then difficulty feels like a denial. But if your focus is to become, then difficulty becomes development. You begin to see obstacles as training grounds, disappointments as lessons, and delays as preparation. Every situation is shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and more capable of carrying your destiny. Another powerful truth about becoming is that it outlives receiving. What you receive may benefit you for a season, but what you become benefits generations. If you receive wealth without becoming disciplined, you waste it. But if you become disciplined, you can build wealth that outlasts you. If you receive influence without becoming humble, you may misuse it. But if you become humble, you will inspire and impact others far beyond your lifetime. Becoming always multiplies, receiving often fades. This is why the prayer, Lord, make me everything I prayed for, is so profound. It shifts your focus from things to transformation. It says, God, I don't just want you to give me the house, the car, or the opportunity. I want you to make me the person who deserves them, who can manage them, and who can use them for a greater purpose. When you pray this way, you are asking for the higher gift. You are asking not just to hold blessings, but to embody them. So many people chase after receiving, but wise people pursue becoming. The immature ask, what can I get? But the mature ask, who can I become? One path leads to temporary satisfaction. The other leads to lasting fulfillment. Receiving can fill your hands, but becoming fills your life. And when your life is full, blessings will always find you because you will have grown into the person they were meant for. In the end, the greatest blessing is not that you received what you asked for, but that you became the person God destined you to be. Receiving is about possessions. Becoming is about transformation. And when you become, you will never have to worry about receiving, because everything you need will flow naturally the person you have grown to be. Purpose and destiny are two of the most misunderstood concepts in life, yet they are the foundation of human existence. Many people spend their lives chasing career achievements or recognition, believing these things define their destiny. But true destiny is not something you invent, it is something you discover. It is already written into the blueprint of your being, waiting to be unveiled as you walk with God and grow in wisdom. Purpose is the seed, destiny is the harvest. Purpose tells you why you were created, while destiny is the fulfillment of that purpose over time. Every individual enters this world carrying a divine design. Nothing about you is accidental. Your personality, your passions, even your struggles, all serve a role in shaping your journey. Yet too often, people reduce destiny to external success. They believe that reaching a certain position, owning certain possessions, or being applauded by people means they have arrived. But destiny is deeper than applause, wealth, or positions. Destiny is alignment with the reason you were placed on earth. Understanding purpose is the first step toward destiny. Without purpose, life feels empty, no matter how many things you achieve. This is why so many people with wealth and fame still feel unfulfilled. They have received, but they have not become what they were meant to be. Purpose anchors you. It gives meaning to your gifts and direction to your decisions. It answers the question, why am I here? And once that question is answered, destiny unfolds naturally. Destiny is not created through ambition alone. It is discovered through obedience, growth, and faith. Ambition can take you far, but only alignment with God's plan can take you to your true destiny. That is why some doors remain closed. No matter how hard you push, they were never designed for you. At the same time, some opportunities will open that you never imagined possible. These are markers of destiny, moments where divine timing intersects with your preparation. One of the greatest truths about destiny is that it is bigger than you. Destiny is not only about personal success, it is about impact. It is about how your life contributes to others, how your gifts solve problems, and how your existence reveals God's glory. When you understand this, you stop asking only, what can I achieve for myself? And begin to ask, how can my purpose serve the world? Destiny is about legacy, what remains after you are gone. But walking into destiny requires discipline. It is not automatic. Many people purpose, but only a few fulfill destiny because they are unwilling to go through the process of preparation. Purpose may be revealed in a moment, but destiny takes a lifetime to manifest. Think of a seed, within it lies the destiny of a forest. But unless it is planted, nurtured, and allowed to grow through seasons of sun and storm, it will never reach its full potential. In the same way, your destiny requires growth, pruning, testing, and patience. Another truth about destiny is that it often unfolds gradually. People sometimes expect a dramatic moment where everything becomes clear at once. But more often, destiny is revealed step by step. Each decision, each challenge, each act of faith brings you closer to the fullness of who you were meant to be. This is why you cannot despise small beginnings. The path to destiny often looks ordinary at first. But in hindsight, you realize every step was necessary, every detour was purposeful, and every delay was preparation. Destiny also requires surrender. You cannot fulfill it on your own terms. It is not about forcing your way, but about aligning your will with God's. When you surrender your plans, you make room for His higher plan to guide you. And His plan is always greater because it considers not only your potential, but also the generations your life will touch. Many times, what you think is a setback is actually a redirection toward destiny. The loss of a job, the closing of a door, or even the ending of a relationship may feel painful. But often it is God's way of steering you back to the path you meant to walk. The beauty of destiny is that no mistake can erase it. You may stumble, take detours, or even run from your calling, But destiny is patient. It waits for you to return. Just as a river eventually finds its way to the sea, a life surrendered will always find its way back to purpose. That is why it is never too late to start living intentionally. Even in your later years, you can step into destiny. Because what matters most is not how fast you arrive, but that you arrive aligned with God's will. When you truly grasp the reality of purpose and destiny, your perspective changes. You stop living only for survival or success. You begin to live for significance. You stop measuring your life only by what you accumulate, and you start measuring it by how much you contribute. And as you walk faithfully in your purpose, destiny will not remain a distant dream. It will become the reality of your life. The transformation process is at the heart of every person's journey toward becoming who they were destined to be. When we pray and ask God to make us everything we were created for, we must also that He does not simply hand us the finished product. Instead, He leads us through a process of shaping, stretching, and refining. Transformation is rarely comfortable, but it is always necessary. Without it, we would remain unprepared for the very blessings we ask for. The truth is, God answers many prayers by first working on the person, not the problem. We often pray for circumstances to change, but God's priority is to change us in the midst of those circumstances. If He changes the situation without changing the person, then the same problem will soon return because the root issue has not been addressed. But if He transforms the individual, then no matter the situation, they will have the strength, wisdom, and capacity to thrive. This is why the transformation process is not punishment, it is preparation. Transformation begins with character. Before God places influence in your hands, He first ensures that integrity is in your heart. Before He increases your territory, He strengthens your foundation. This is the same principle seen in construction. A building can only rise as high as its foundation is deep. Likewise, your destiny can only stand if your character is strong. Many people want elevation without excavation, but God knows that unless He digs deep within you, the weight of your destiny could crush you. Another key part of the transformation process is pruning. Just as a gardener cuts away branches that hinder growth, God removes habits, relationships, and even opportunities that would limit your future. Pruning feels painful because it involves loss, but it is not meant to harm you. It is meant to redirect your energy toward growth. Sometimes doors close, not because you are unworthy, but because you are being preserved for something greater. Transformation always involves letting go of what no longer serves your purpose. The process also involves testing. Tests are not meant to destroy your faith, but to prove it. Every challenge you face is a classroom where God teaches you endurance and resilience. It is through testing that you discover your hidden strength. Think of gold. It only becomes pure when it passes through fire. In the same way, your destiny requires you to pass through seasons that refine your motives, strengthen your resolve, and deepen your trust in God. Transformation stretches you beyond your comfort zone. Growth never happens when you are most comfortable. It happens when you are challenged to rise higher, think deeper, and act with greater faith. Often God will place you in situations where your natural ability is not enough. This is intentional. It forces you to rely on His wisdom and strength. Over time, this stretching enlarges your capacity. What once overwhelmed you becomes manageable, and what once seemed impossible becomes natural. That is evidence of transformation at work. The process also develops vision. When you are transformed, you stop looking at life through the lens of limitation and begin to see it through the lens of possibility. You begin to interpret obstacles as opportunities, setbacks as setups, and delays as preparation. Transformation changes not just what you do, but how you think. As Scripture reminds us, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Lasting change always begins internally. Once the mind is renewed, actions and outcomes begin to follow. One of the most difficult but important aspects of transformation is patience. We live in a world that craves instant results, but destiny does not operate on human timetables. God's process takes time because true transformation cannot be rushed. Just as a butterfly cannot skip the cocoon stage, you cannot skip the seasons designed to mature you. If you emerge too early, you will not have the strength to fly. Patience allows the work to be completed so that when you step into your destiny, you are fully equipped to sustain it. Ultimately, transformation is about alignment. It brings your desires, character, and actions into harmony with God's purpose for your life. The person you were yesterday may not be capable of carrying tomorrow's destiny, but through transformation, you are constantly being shaped into someone who can. Each season, each trial, each breakthrough is part of a larger plan to make you the reflection of God's original design. When you embrace the transformation process, you stop resisting change and start welcoming growth. You begin to understand that unanswered prayers, delays, and challenges are not signs of rejection, but tools of refinement. You realize that God is not just preparing blessings for you. He is preparing you for blessings. And when the process is complete, you will not only receive what you prayed for, you will have become the person capable of living it out fully and faithfully. That is the power of transformation. It turns weakness into strength, fear into courage, limitation into capacity, and potential into destiny. It is the journey every great life must take. And though it is not easy, it is always worth it, because at the end of the process, you will stand as the very person God always intended you to be. At the end of it all, the prayer, "Dear God, please make me everything I prayed for and was destined to become," is not merely about receiving blessings, but about becoming the person who can embody them. It is a prayer of surrender, of alignment, and of trust. It acknowledges that identity is discovered in God, that destiny is already written within us, that fulfillment comes not in receiving alone, but in becoming, and that the transformation process, though often uncomfortable, is necessary for greatness. Your life is not an accident. You were created with intention, marked with purpose, and destined for impact. But to step into that destiny, you must allow God to shape you and prepare you. You must embrace the seasons that feel like delay, recognizing them as development. You must shift your focus from simply asking for things to asking to be made into someone who can handle those things. The greatest gift you can give yourself, and the greatest prayer you can pray, is not, "Lord, give me more," but, "Lord, make me more. Make me wise enough to manage opportunities, strong enough to endure challenges, humble enough to carry success, and faithful enough to finish the journey." Because when you become everything God destined you to be, blessings will follow you, doors will open for you, and impact will flow through you. So, as you leave this message in your heart, remember this: God is not just interested in changing your situation. He is interested in changing you. If you allow Him, He will not only answer your prayers, but also transform you into the answer to someone else's. And when that happens, your life will not simply be filled with blessings, it will become a blessing to the world.